That was awkward. All right. Hello, everyone, or anyone that's tuned in. So we shall be continuing our LeetCode solving. Today we're going to be going through sliding windows, which is, let me mute myself. So yeah, and data structures and algorithms. Sliding window is when instead of looping through, like, so if you have a list, instead of going through each item one by one, you're given like a number. So let's say 3, and you have a list of 10. So we'll look at 3 at a time, and then we slide that window of 3 to the left or right. So when we slide it to the right, we add that value to our list, and then we take the first number or item in the list out so that we use the 3 in the new list. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Give me a second. I need to open Twitch on my phone because I can't see, in case anyone actually talks and gives me advice, things like that. Straight. Three, 6, 3, 5, 2. Welcome, Amos. What's up? All right, so problem 643, maximum average subarray. You're given an integer array nums consisting of n elements and an integer k. Find a contiguous subarray whose length is equal to k that has the maximum average value, and return this value. Any answer with a calculation error less than 10 to the 5 power will be accepted. Okay, so the first example, we have an array 1, 12, -5, -6, 50, and 3. And k is 4. And the answer is 12.750. Explanation: maximum average is 12, 5, -6 plus 50 divided by 4. So they add the numbers in the window, get 51, and then they divide by 4, and they get 12.75. Okay. So what you would do is start with a window. Let me start here. So we have an array of 1, 12, -5, -6, 50. I already know I'm going to get tired of. So the first one would be 1 plus 12 minus 5 minus 6. 13, 8, 2. So that would be 2. And then you would divide that window by, you divide that addition by the window, which is 4. You would get 0.5. Right, and then you would come again. So you would shift it to the right 1. So you would do 12, -5, -6, and then 60, right? So that would be 61. Quick maths. Divided by 4. And that would be, time no day, 15.25. All right, and then you would shift that 1, 5, -6, 60, and 3, 63, 58, 53, 53 divided by 4. 13.25, and then you do the last one, which would be -6. Oh no, that's the last one. Oh, how did they get 12 points? Oh, it's 50. 50, it's not 60. I was using 60 in my explanation, but it's actually 50. Okay, so 12. Okay, I can do it. This would be 51 instead of 61. 51 minus 4, 1275. Yep. So that's what I got here. And then, I mean, I don't need to keep doing this already. 11, 48, 51. Oh, this is 50. 53 minus 5, 48, 42 minus 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. I think that's what it said. All right, so yeah, so we shifted the array to the right once, and then at each one we want to get the addition for, or add all the numbers that are in that window, and then divide it by 4, which is the k, and then we get the answer. Or we want to find the largest average, so we want the biggest number out of all the shifting that we did, which would be the 1275. All right, so first thing we want to do is, of course, we want to keep track of the biggest answer. So we're gonna probably have two variables, one to keep the current max, and then one to keep the max for the iteration we're doing, and then we'll compare the two. So it would be like current max and found max. If current max is bigger than the found max, then we will assign the current max to the found max. So that's the next max. That's the newest max. And then we return. So we can actually find the biggest sum. Can we find the biggest sum? If we find the biggest sum, I mean the biggest number that you divide by the same number is going to be the biggest, right? So we don't need to actually find the max. We can just do the addition, and then we can return the divided by 4. We can return the sum divided by 4. Or not divided by 4, divided by k. And so and another thing we have to notice too is that we have an array of ints, and the k is an int, but we are returning a double, so we're probably gonna need to transform the ints into a double. So let me just do the return double. Is it uppercase or lowercase? Double divided by double k. And then we need some variables, so we can do some looped sum. We're gonna start at 0. And then we're gonna need a loop to find the first set of sums. So we want the first 4 numbers. So we want I to k, when I is less than k, the count of k. Okay. So for I in 0, we want it less than k dot count. So we want, because the count is going to be 4, and we're going to do 0, 1, 2, 3. So 3 is less than 4, and then we want to add. We want to add to our loop sum. We want to add the numbers, so which is nums, the index of nums. So we're gonna be loop sum plus equals nums I. Okay. So this will get us our first. Please give me a second. 36352. Three, 6, 3, 5, 2. Payment. Why? All right. So we have our first sum. Okay. So that's the loop sum, and that is our current maximum. Our current max average. No, our current max sum. Okay, so we need to also do a variable for our max. Max loop sum. Now we're just gonna assign it the loop sum off the bat, and then we're gonna do a comparison. Okay. So we'll loop through, get our, because every time we shift the window, our loop sum is gonna change. So this is we're only doing this for the first loop. So should I move it up? No, okay, let's keep it like this for now. So now we need to slide the window. So we won't use k.count, we'll actually use the nums.count, since that's the array that we want to slide. So we're gonna loop, we have our windows, so now we need to loop through our array nums. Okay. So we can do for I and k, when k is less than the nums count. Okay, and then what do we want to do? We want to shift. How am I going to shift? because we need to shift. We need to shift. And then remove last, first, remove first, and append last. That doesn't really make sense, but it makes sense to me. And then if do some comparison. I think the comparison will be easier for right now. So if our new loop sum is bigger than our maxed sum, then we want to assign our loop sum to the max sum. If loop sum is greater than our maxed loop sum, then we want to do the comparison. We want to do the we want to assign the loop sum to our maxed loop sum. So that would be the new max loop sum to our loop sum. Okay, so once we do the shift, if the shift results in a new loop sum, or the shift is going to resolve in a new loop sum, and then we check if the new loop sum is bigger than our max sum that we set. If it is, then we assign that will be the new max sum. If not, then the max sum seems the same from the last loop-de-loop we did. So we need to shift. So we need to be assigning our loop sum to a new value using the variable, using this new I. So we need to add, but then we also need to subtract. So that's where the issue would be. So we do loop sum. No, not loop sum. We do nums. The nums is what we're going to use. And then we are going to add nums. Okay. So the nums that we're going to be adding is the I. Since we're looping from the k, which is going to be 4, so we're going to do 4, 5. So this is 6 numbers. K would be 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would be 50, and then 3. Okay, so how do we subtract? We're going to need I for sure. I minus, it's not k count, because that would be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be 0, which would give us the wrong. Let me just try. So we have our first loop. First loop gets the sum, which is cool. You save it to a variable. Okay. Then we shift 4. I think this is wrong. 4, because it's going to start at 4 minus nums. The nums count is, and this is 6, so that's going to be a negative number. Now we're plus. Okay, let me just try. This is wrong though. The value of I. Oh no, this is already. We don't need to count because it's already an integer. Sorry about that. Woo! And I'm pretty sure it's because it's turning. It's coming up with a negative number. I minus k. I minus k. I minus k. I minus k. That's what we want to do. It's not count. We want the integer k. Wrong answers. Why are we returning 0? That is funny. And that's because in our we're supposed to be getting our maxed loop. So we can just do maxed loop sum. And then we will divide it by our k, which is our I am good. So beautifully done. Beautifully done. So let's do submit. Someone last me stream told me not to pay attention to the runtime because it's inaccurate. But it's a 0. So what I need to do is figure out. I think it's linear space complexity. Not using that many variables, and we're only going through the array once. Like we start and then we move right. Would it be n squared? Because we don't go through it once. We have 4. 5, 6. Oh, it should be ON. I think it's ON. It's either ON or ON squared. Okay, let's look at some solutions. See if anyone did anything different. Beginner friendly is what I want. Okay, this one is using a sum method and a right pointer. Ooh, that's not good. Okay, and then it's max. So it's getting the max number with the sum. Okay, so I guess it didn't need to do this part. You can just assign it to a variable comparing the two, and that would be your new max. Nice. We go through the array once, updating the sum and constant time for each step. So 1, we have a fixed number of variables for tracking the sum and the max, regardless of the input side. Beginner friendly. Seems like a lot of people are using the max method. But the return is the same. It's also using range. Initialize current sum and max sum and the sum of the initial k elements. I actually don't know what this means. Yeah, let me save the solution to check later. Let me open up notes. And then save it. Yes, I don't know what where he's doing the nums and then the dots k. I don't actually know what that is. Oh, 22. Anybody keep getting 12 by later clever. I don't understand why you loop range. Is that editorial that explains it? Oh, you need to subscribe. Of course. All right, 1 down, 2 and a possible left. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. So the next one, maximum number of vowels in a substring of given length. Given a string s and an integer k, return the maximum number of vowel letters in any substring of s with length k. Vowel letters in English are A, E, I, O, and U. So this should be pretty similar. So once again, we have our string and then we have our k. So s is string, k is the number, the size of our window, and then we're returning int. So first example, we have A, B, C, I, D, E, F, and our window is k. So let's start with some commenting. So we have A, C, D, A, C, A, B, C, I, D, E, F. So our first window would be and our k is 3, so it would be A, B, C. So this one we have one vowel being A. Then we move over to BCI, which is also 1. And then we do CII, which is 2. Then we have I, which is 3, which is probably the answer. Yeah, it is the answer. Then we have IID, which is 2. Then we have IDE, which is 2, I think. And then we have DEF, which is 1. Okay, so we started with the first 3, and then we're just shifting it by 1. Then we'll check how many vowels. So first thing we'll need to do is check. We need something to hold our vowels that we'll be using to check. All right. And then we will need something to hold our vowels, and then we need to check how. So like the previous previous question, we had a variable to hold our looped, the max sum of our current loop. But this one, we just need to check how many vowels are in that current window, right? And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So like, what questions? We had a whole entire string array. So we need to find a way, since it's a string, we want to change it into a list of an array of characters so that we can index, like we can loop through it. Okay, so we need our vowels, we need our counter, and we need to change s into characters. Okay, so var list of vowels. So that would be, we don't want to use array, we can use a set of characters. So this will also help us do the comparison. And then we can just do A, E. Yeah, I need to put them in quotations. A, E, I, O, U. So we'll check this against our characters of strings. So string characters. String characters like this, which is an array of S, which is what is being passed in, and then our vowel count, which will be 0. So these are the variables that we will use. Then we will do our first loop, which will be k 0 to k. We want our I to be less than 0 to k. Then we'll just check if our string characters contains our vowels, any vowels. If it does, we increase our vowel count. And then we'll do another, pretty similar to the first question. We'll just do we'll have our maxed, after we do our max, we'll assign to a max, and then we'll do another loop to check the move-in window part. Okay, so for I in 0 less than k, right, we want to check if our list of vowels is contained in our strings. If list of vowels we have it contains anything in our strings. This should be strings. String characters with the index being what we're looping through. I don't know why I always do 1 instead of I. And then if we do run into a match, that means our window currently, this is our first window, so that means it currently has a vowel in it. So our vowel count is going to go up by the amount of times. So every time it runs across in a window, you want to increase it by 1. Okay, so this is the first loop. So we'll set our window, and then we'll compare our string characters our array of string, our array of characters in the string against our list of English vowels. And if there's any matches, every time there's a match, we will increase the vowel count. So we're only looping through K because that's the size of the first window. So K would be like 3 in this example. So once we get that, we want to have a max vowel count. And that's just going to be list equal to our vowel count. And then our next loop will be for I in 0. Our I in 0. And this is going to be our array of characters. That count. That would be our limits. And then we are moving. So string characters count. That would be our limit to our second loop. Okay. And then we're just going to return a max vowel count. So in this loop, we want to check, do we want to reset our vowel count? Probably not. Probably want to, okay, let me do the comparison one first. That's easier. So if our vowel count is greater than our max, then we just want to set our max vowel count to the current count. To vowel count. Okay. So now we need to move the window. So we're looping. Well, how are we going to loop? I mean, we can do something like this. So this would add, right? But we need to find a way to subtract as well, because, so we do our first loop, and our count is set to 1. We do our second loop, it's gonna be set to 1. If our list of vowels contains string is here, it's gonna be a minus k again, I think. And then instead of here, we're gonna subtract. That's what we did here. So remove and then add. Okay. Okay, let me comment this one out first and then run it and see what it says. Because I need to. What is this? All red. Found an unexpected second identifier in variable declaration. Is there an accident at break? A, E, I, O, U. Found an unexpected second. What? Is there a big apostrophe? Found an unexpected second identifier. Okay. List of vowels. Set. List of vowels equals A, E, I, O, U. R. What am I missing? Equals. List of vowels set. Oh. Oh my God. Thank God for IDEs. Expected in after for each. For I in. I really hope these things. I need to clean up. Wrong answered. It's getting 6. This is getting 7. It's getting 6. Okay. My bad. So yeah, I do need to subtract. Oh my goodness. Why am I breaking? Max vowel count is a legal instruction. Okay, let's make these. These will never change, and we're just using them. Subscript. Program crashed. Illegal instructions. I am breaking LeetCode. Okay. We have our vowels. We're setting. Okay. We're doing our loop for I less than K. And then if our list of vowels, which is our set, contains our string characters at our index, that's what we want. We want to increase our vowel count by 1. This looks good. Then we want to set, we're creating a variable for max vowel count. With our first loop, then we go to the sliding of the window for I mean, it has to be in here because it worked without this. So we're doing the string characters dot count is less than, and then if our list of variables contains we're subtracting. Is it this I minus K, which is here? Or should we do it else? Yes. Let's try else. Right now it's trial and error. Come on, B. If our list of files contains Okay, so it works without this, right? Or again, the wrong answer, so we need to find a way to subtract. For I and 0 and 0. So we're looping through our first window. We get our max. We get the count for the vowels. We set it to the max, and then we want to loop the window for I and 0 strings account. No, it's not 0. It's K. It's K. It's K. Okay. Okay. Crazy. My goodness. All right. So we don't need to loop through the entire thing. We only want to loop through the things that are not in the current window. Or we want to loop through the things that are in the current window. So me doing 0 means start from the beginning, which is not the case. You want to start with the first number of the first item outside of the loop. Okay, so we have the subtraction, and then we have the add in, and then we check. We do our check, and then we return the max count. Looks good. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Ooh, kind of slow, but I don't think that's an issue. So the time complexity and the space complexity would be the same. O(n), because we're only going through it once, and then linear, because it's a set something. Counter is set, size, the window is set. So let's go and check some of these other people's crazy editorials. You have to pay. Don't recalculate. This looks like a ChatGPT answer. Holy. This is not. This looks like. Is this Python? Yeah. We need to. A map. Convert the string into a trail of shiny ones and dull zeros. Okay, you're doing too much already. What if we turn this string into a simple game of counting? Let's mark the vowels with a shiny 1 and the non-vowels with a dull 0. This way we can quickly count the shiny numbers at any part of the string. Too much fun. Thinking like a cat makes the problem more fun. Okay, this is pretty similar. They're using a dictionary instead of a set for our A-E-I-O-U check. And then they're doing an S map for the vowels. And so this is, okay. I think that would take me a long time to do. This is the one we just looked at. The approach involves iterating over a string with 2 pointers, marking the start and the end of a sliding window of size k. As the window moves through the string, count the number of vowels in the current window. When the window exceeds size k, move the start point to the right and adjust the vowel count accordingly. This way you can keep track. Okay. Oh, time complexity O(n). This is good. Yep. So it's not linear for the space. This is primarily due to the conversion of the input string into the character string. Oh, I'm doing the same thing. So mine is not O1, it'll be O(n). Okay, maybe I need to start using this max method. It seems like most of the people are doing that instead of reassigning max vowels. So he only assigns it up here. Or is there somewhere here? So he actually didn't need to, he doesn't need this variable, he could just return this. Oh no, he does need it. But where is he assigning it? Okay, no, he actually does need it. He's assigning it in the loop, okay. Alright, cool. Impressive, guys, impressive. Alright, let's move on to the third. Oh, we've been almost going for an hour. That's pretty cool. Okay, max consecutive ones, chapter 3. Given a binary array nums and an integer k, return the maximum numbers of consecutive ones in an array if you flip at most k zeros. Oh no. What? Given an array nums and an integer k, return the maximum number of consecutive ones in the array if you can flip at most k zeros. So we're trying to get the most ones in a row flipping by k. Both the numbers were flipped from 0 to 1, the longest subarray. Oh. So why didn't they just say that? So what we're trying to do is get the longest row of ones by flipping 2 zeros, or k number of zeros. Oh, this will be tough. So this one, I think we are going to have to not slide. Or we can slide and then check if there's any zeros when we slide, I think. So what we do want to do is like slide until it's full of zeros. But that doesn't make sense. So this is 3. It flips one of the zeros. This is 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't flip any of the zeros. Oh, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. Let's see which one. Let's see this one too. Let's see which is the easier one. Because the max zeros one is gonna be tough. I don't even understand the English, so. I don't want to give myself a headache. Given a binary array nums, you should delete one element from it. Return the size of the longest non-empty subarray containing only ones in the resultant array. Return 0 if there's no such. Okay, given a binary array num, you should delete one element for it. So after delete one. Oh, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are both hard. So in this one, we want to delete one number, or we want to delete one value to get the longest array inside an array of ones. But I think this one would probably be easier. So we just need to keep track of the zero count. Nah, man, this is today they have gotten me. I got two easy ones and then this behemoth, most consecutive ones. But we will do it. Given a binary array nums and an integer k, return the maximum number of consecutive ones in the array if you can flip at most k zeros. Okay. So we have an array of binary. And in this problem, the number k is how many of the zeros we can flip into one. And the goal is to get the most ones in a row inside of our nums array. Okay. So k isn't our window size, right? So we can do a loop where we're just looping bam, 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 bam. So we'll loop until we have more than k. So this will be our first loop. So we keeping track of the zeros. Okay, let's do, since we don't have a k, we can do a start, and we can do a finish. Or we could do a start and then the end, and then count the zeros. What are we returning? The length. Okay, so we need a longest array. We're gonna set that to 0. And then we're gonna use a start. And then end, maybe. We're going to be looping through nums. And we need a variable. We need to return the longest array. All right, so that's the basic. Now we need to get the juice. We have our lemons, so now we need to make our lemonade. So first thing we want to do is check if the num for end index, if it's a 0, then we want to, I don't think we don't need this variable, right? Because this is pretty much our I. We don't need that. Let's not even be fancy. If nums I is equal to 0, then we want to increase our 0 count. Do we have a variable for 0 count? No. So we want to keep track of how many zeros there are in our current window. All right. Okay. So where does k? Our 0 count has to be less than k. If it's greater than k, that means we need to move our window. All right. So can we do if our zero count is less than k, if it's less, we want to update our longest array. But we want our zero count to be 0, no? We don't want our zero count to be 0. Okay, we still need to increase this somehow. But we need to do a check here with our nums at our index. This is I, not 1. Okay, if nums at I. Okay, it can't be the same as this. It has to be what we're checking is. If our nums at the start is equal to 0. This is going to confuse me. Start of window. Okay. So this would be, we have our add, so this would probably be our subtraction, right? So if our zero count is less than the 2, which would be our k, we want to check if the start of the window is equal to 0. If it is, okay, so we'll decrease our 0. And then we're assigning it where are we getting our longest? We're going to do it outside of our if statements, but then our max longest array. No, our longest array should be here. This is wrong. Our longest array should be here, and it should be longest array. No, let me use the max that I keep saying I'm going to use. The max So it should be the biggest number between the longest array, and then our I minus and then plus 1. It's going to be our I minus our start. Yeah, because I is like our end start and plus 1. And then this is where we'll increase. If it doesn't go into the loop, that means we have a 1. Okay. There has to be a simpler way to do this. This seems very convoluted. $11. There's not even 11 numbers in the array. 19. There's a problem. It's here somewhere. I'm adding too much. So if it doesn't do, if the 0 count is less, can we do, maybe it's the if. We need a stop condition. Time exceeded. So it's taking too long. That's also not a good. How can I optimize? This. Longest array. It's not very helpful. I'm pretty sure it's this max thing that I said I was going to do. Okay. I think that's causing the most issues at the moment. Because we're recalculating it every time. So let's get rid of this. There should be a way where we just keep track of the starts and then the zeros. So we'll keep the first loop. We'll keep that. It could also be the while. Let's try something. Try 0 count. try and clean what we had up. It's less than K. So we just need a way to add and a way to subtract. So we have this if. We probably still need this. And then we can do y. We can do here. Can we do start of the window? Can we do this? Let's use start of the window as the use that as the index check. And then we'll check this against 0. Right? And then this would be our 0 count negative. God, my eye itches crazy. Do this. So we have what we use to decrease. If it doesn't hit this, we'll increase it. This should be better than, and then we need to return. We'll do num count minus, nums count, nums.count minus start window. Let's see. Wrong. We're still getting 11.6. This is 19 still? Yeah. I'm doing some extra add-in somewhere. So we're starting with 0, 0, 0, 0. For I and 0 nums.count if I is equal to 0, then we add. Increase our zeros, right? Then we go on. If our 0 count is less than RK, we check if the start of the window is equal to 0. If it is, we subtract. Then we add. No, we don't add to 0. This is us moving our window forward. Yep. We're adding to our 0 count. Oh my goodness. So it should be 18, right? It is also 10, okay. Okay. Awesome. Let's go and look at some solutions. Your last submission beat 26%. That's awesome. This is keeping a track of a lot of things. It took me 26 minutes from the second round. The blocker was typos. I don't know what that means. I think this is what I was trying to do. Stick to the lakes and rivers that you're used to, Jay. Simple. This is 2 pointers. Max int. What is need? Too much. So this is keeping track of 2 pointers. All right, that's 3 down. I think this is the last one. The deleting of one element. But I think I'll call it a day here. So tomorrow we'll do 3. We'll do the longest subarray, the last one in the sliding window, and then the prefix find the highest altitude and find pivot index. So I'll save that for the next session. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I also upload these to YouTube too, so if you want to also follow along. And then if you also have tips or suggestions, please let me know. But I appreciate everyone that watches. A few people have told me they watched or they've tuned in, non-tech people, so greatly appreciated. Thank you, Amos. So yeah, everyone have a good rest of your day. See you next time. Peace.